What's up guys, it's your host No Life Crazy Grind here. So today's guide is going to be about Daaark Knight skills. There seems to be a lot of massive hype around this. I've noticed a lot of people have sold off their gear to play this character class, which I don't think is very smart if you enjoy your previous class. But anyways, this is a class that I thought I wasn't going to play, but I ended up playing it because I thought it was going to be slow, but it's actually quite fast. So this guide is more so like how what skills I'm using currently. It took me about a day and 8 hours to get to 57. There is a bit of AFK time involved in there, but I mostly grinded solo with like a friend and a guildie in my guild. That's it. I only duoed. Nobody carried me. It was quite gruesome. So yeah, it was leveling pretty hardcore, and some people were like, where did you level? I leveled mostly in, well, the same usual path in all the previous videos that I've shown from, 1 to 50, and then also like from 50 and beyond. In the grinding video, I already showed you guys, like, I went from mains from like 52 to 54 in the span of like 1 hour, and then afterwards like 55 was I still at mains, and then sometimes I go to Sausage just for a little bit. There's a combat promotion quest at 55 I've told people about repeatedly, gives you 35% of your level, so you just literally boost it past there, and then 56 to 57 is like your actual only real grind where you actually start feeling a grind, or at least for me anyways. So right now the skills, I'm gonna go over what I've been using. It's not really fully accurate. I haven't had enough experience with the class yet. I have 649 skill points at 57. I have Chain Dusk. This is your sidestep. This block is given to you by default, I think. I have the counter. This is strictly for PvP. There's not really much of a use of this in PvE. I have the Scarring Slash on left and right. Most people don't spec this, just so you know. I use it because I use it with Vedir's Dogma. A lot of people also don't use this. It says 20% extra damage on these particular attacks, which is Scarring Slash, Sudden Attack, and your regular strike. It only affects those 3 attacks. It doesn't affect anything else. I find it very useful. I don't exactly know if the 20% is added after multiplications or like overall or base multiplier. So either way, I find that these things hit really hard with this on, so I don't know why some people would say this is meaningless. And also the 20 EP that it consumes every 3 seconds is just literally nothing, because if you sidestep twice you get 40 EP back and 60, and this is literally like a 5-second cooldown, so you can actually keep this up forever with very few mana pots. Spirit Satiation, not really useful. This bleeding, not really. It's actually quite a high dot for what it is and how fast you can tag it. I don't do the full 2 hits because I use Pervasive Darkness as well, the spacebar. This is a very good skill, minus 10 DP on hit, and it hits really hard, 426 times 3. Some people take this Slanted Balance, but I personally don't like it because the one hit doesn't seem to do very much unless you do it on a knockdown target. Pervasive Darkness hits much harder because it has a high crit rate of 40%. Airstrike, this is something used very, very often. Level it because literally for shorter cooldown and higher damage, 50% critical rate. I've locked Darkness Burst, no point in using it, seems kind of slow. Unveil Dagger, I have this maxed out. You can take this one too, but you do need the SP. This gives HP recovery, not something really important to begin with. Hidden Strike, this is really, really good. I would never not use it. It's 100% crit and inflicts stun, and it's rapid, and it's basically 634 times 2 and comes right after the dagger almost instantly. Very, very good. Shadow Bullet used more with PvP. I haven't really spec'd it. I tried it a little bit, but I'm at beyond 56, so I can't freely reset anymore. Same with this Luscious Snare. This is also for PvP. It's like putting a landmine on the floor. If somebody steps on it, they'll go stunned. This Shadow Bullet, if you actually tag somebody with a Shadow Bullet, I suggest you follow up with Obsidian Ashes to knock down the person, because this causes stiffness. So once you stun them a little bit, you still need time to close the distance, and if they're too far away, then fire a meteor at them and they'll go on the floor. And then dash up to them with your Smoky Haze as well. And Smoky Haze should also be leveled up max as soon as possible as well. This is something you'll be using a lot. It's basically your survival for probably post-awakening as well, I assume. Ravage Rake, I took this all the way to max. This is a huge DPS skill for the Daaark Knight. Repeated Annihilation, it seems good just reading on the stats on it, but it's not really that strong and it takes too long to activate. in my opinion. It's 100% crit, but even then it's still not enticing enough, whereas Ravage Rake is down attack, so you get 50% more damage on knockdown targets. A lot of my damage and grinding speed comes from knocking down my targets and then just using down attacks. I would like to use ultimate enforcement, but I don't know how to actually trigger this. I think I mentioned this in the previous video about the Daaark Knight. It's just that this would be a really strong attack if I actually knew how to use this ultimate enforcement, because this thing has its own cooldown, and as well this regular enforcement has its own cooldown as well. So it tells me you can use this twice, and that's 641 times 2 hits or whatever, which is a lot. And if enforcement ultimate lets you do another one, that's 2 strikes, and that's a lot of damage. I didn't take Imperious Command because I didn't find this to be useful. Its mark explosion is only 735% for 1 hit, and it doesn't seem to hit multiple targets. This is something I would take much later. You can pop the explosions with Sylvia Slash and Corrupt Ground, I believe. And I don't really use Sylvia Slash that much. I know a lot of other people use it because it hits hard. It does hit hard at maximum level, but the thing is, I don't like the charge up. The charge up is rather slow. It's like a 1 second charge up. It's not that long, but I just don't like stuttering in the middle of combat. I like my combat to continuously flow. That's just a preference thing. It is a good skill though. I highly recommend it. It's more like a good counter as well for PvP and PvE, so it works for both situations of gameplay. Nocturne is definitely a PvP skill. Wheel of Fortune, this is a big damage dealer on the Daaark Knight. Use this for basically knocking down mobs or making them go flying. It also hits a lot of mobs in a circular area. It's a full circle around you, gives you super armor. This is like a very good skill you should pick up. Obsidian Ashes, not something really worth picking up until later on. I use this to wipe out like easy mobs that I can one-shot, so don't have to move around groups very much. If you can't one-shot them, then don't bother taking it. Corrupt Ground, also something I'm slowly raising up. This is a big damage dealer for against enemies on the floor. You chain that with Lunacy of Vedir, you drop your sword, then you do Corrupt Ground, and you should be able to wipe like groups really quick. Otherwise, you should be able to just use Lunacy of Vedir and then use Knockdown from either Obsidian Ashes and close in with Airstrike and Smoky Haze, and then use your Corrupt Ground right away. I forgot really how to cancel it. I canceled this a few times so it can cast really quick, so there is a way to quick cast this. It's a bit odd, and oh, you can learn that, that's useful. And then obviously pick up your passive. It gives accuracy and attack power, very important. And that's it for skills. So combat, just turn on my sword, and then you swing it around. So when you have your, when it's actually toggled, the icon display is a little weird. Right now I actually have my sword buff on, even though it doesn't show the aura or whatever, or the icon here. It's just that when this square thing is actually like has the particles circling around it, it means it's on, even though it looks like it's off right now, which is strange. And then what I do is I always start my attacks with a Smoky Haze into a sudden attack. I know a lot of people say don't take sudden attack, it's useless. I like to take it because it gives EP recovery on every hit. So basically I never need mana pots either. Yeah, so you can go from a sudden attack straight into a flow Ravage Rake, which hits really hard, 460 and 506 per energy hit. So it's a big hitting opener, and it's a massively wide area. That's a huge cancel that's not even listed in the inputs or whatever. So I was like, oh man, it's so much. So Ravage Rake, this is a Ravage Rake. And then sometimes I also do sidestep to reposition with Pervasive Darkness. So you go sidestep and then Pervasive Darkness. Pervasive Darkness also spins targets in PvE, which means you'll get back attacks, so you'll also hit mobs a lot harder the moment you hit them with Pervasive Darkness, on top of the minus 10 DP that they lose. And then afterwards, you just continue with a Ravage Rake if you want. And then you sword drop. And then I try to do a Sylvia slash generally after Wheel of Fortune, just really quick because I don't like to charge it up. Charging it up gives it 2 extra hits which does help, but you do stand still for like a good while there, as opposed to just like instant. Let me go find some mobs to go bash. Hold on. Okay, so the great thing about sudden attack is that it's got knockback on hit, which is really good, which is why I don't understand why people wouldn't take it. It also hits pretty hard. It's good 10% of my enemy there in one hit. Yeah, so it's yeah, it was start off with always a sudden attack first, and then I go straight into a Ravage Rake. And then if I'm in the middle of a group, I just hold down left and right mouse button, so it continues with a Ravage Rake and just hits everything. And then if they're still not dead, then you do a Wheel of Fortune right after. And then they all die. And just 2 attacks. Can't see anything because of these damn icons. So you can also knock down and then just close the distance in and drop a sword. Oh, an Explorer Compass, 1.5 mil. The problems with the pervasive darkness is that it consumes quite a bit of stamina per hit. Literally about like 7%. You can spam it, but it's not very useful if you spam it. You probably just want to tag it once just for that DP loss on your targets, which is really big. Right now I'm killing like level 56 and 57, 58 mobs with rather pretty ease. I mean, the guys with the most HP here is the Desert Fogan fighters. Just gonna go to Crescent, but this is the closest area right now to demonstrate this. Then the thing with Corrupt Ground is that Corrupt Ground doesn't hit hard enough unless you actually knock your opponents down. That's what I find. The reason why the Lunasu Vedir hits so hard is because it causes knockdown and it's 100% crit, and the damage is pretty decent on it as well, which is what makes it worth using. Whereas the Corrupt Ground, it does have a higher multiplier, but it has no like 100% crit, so crit is like the problem there. I don't have very much crit stat as well. Most of my crit is coming from skill awakenings. The Veiled Dagger is also really quick as well. It's literally like a lunge on top of a lunge. So if you actually really need mobility, it would be Smoky Haze into a sudden attack into a dagger and then an airstrike. And you can keep moving even farther. Takes a while for you to get used to aiming stuff, especially with the Veiled Dagger and Hidden Strike. Most of the times, like early on, you'll probably run past the mobs a lot and just fly right past them and it won't hit and connect. That's something that just requires experience to get used to. The Z buff makes everything go a lot faster, so Ravage Rake actually becomes quite useful when you have your Rage buff on. So, and then when you have that on, you should have about like 8 to 10 skills on rotation cooldown when you get it down right. Alright, and that's Daaark Knight for you guys. As you can tell, I keep forgetting to use my Corrupt Ground quite often. It's mostly because of its long cooldown, which is why it's one of the skills I leveled like in the last. Kama Sylvia Slash, you can generally trigger it really quick after a Wheel of Fortune. That's one of the notable things. The other things is just an airstrike should be used to knock down. Try not to use it all the time as like for damage. I use it more for a knockdown than damage. And you just drop swords. It's about the same damage as a Ravage Rake at max rank for sudden attack, on top of causing a knockback. It launches the enemy back away from you for a bit. And the 100% is pretty strong and quick. And that's all I have left for your Daaark Knight troubles. I hope this helped you out, guys, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye for now.